Hey everybody, welcome to episode 9 of Dusty Fans. We have a Galaxy GeForce 600 GTX 680. I think there's actually like more to that title. GC 4 gigabyte. So it's a 680, 4 gigabytes of GDDR5. And what's interesting is I think this brand used to be Galaxy like Tech or something, and then I guess they changed their name to Galax or who knows what. So you'll see in the video and in the media it says Galaxy, but my understanding is they changed their name. Not sure why. They just dropped the Y, and I gotta ask why. Anyways, this was a really old card, 13.5 years, came out in 2012, and we saw a good increase. Like this card was pretty clean. The thermal paste and thermal pads, it's always those, like, 10 years and 13 years, if they haven't been replaced, they're usually like overdue for getting swapped out. So as the trend has been, when we see like a good temperature drop, we also see a power wattage drop, which makes sense. Slight benchmark increase, but the FPS was the same, and that's because there wasn't really any thermal throttling going on with this card. Just wait till the next episode. It's insane. But anyways, little preview. 195 watt TDP, which is like it's crazy seeing like the 1000 series cards like with much lower like TDPs and getting better benchmarks. The efficiency of the cards over time is pretty cool to watch. Granted, the like new cards with like a if you're going to get like a 5080 or 5090, like the amount of wattage you have to draw is insane, but the cards obviously perform really well. Looking at the stress tests, as we saw, power before and after, there was a really good drop, on average 2.86 watts, which is 1.3% more efficient as far as the power goes for slightly better performance, which is awesome. Fan speed, again, very similar, a minus 7.7% total fan speed, which equates to 12.7% better. So like this is obviously fan speeds can be 0% to 100%, and on average we were 7.7% less speed, which is actually better represented in the fan speed with RPMs. So 370 RPM lower, which is going to be a quieter card, and you're still getting really good performance. GPU clock was rock solid, and GPU load was basically between 99 and 100% the whole time. And GPU temperature. So this is what we're really after, and this is like what causes our fan speeds to do a lot better. As we can see, as the GPU warms up, it just stays cooler, and it never gets as hot as the previous run. So minus 3.79 degrees Celsius on average, which is a 4.8% increase. And we don't have voltage information, which is fine. Memory clocks were stable. We can see thermal throttles before was 0 and 0 after, and you can expect power throttles to be basically at 600 because we do a 10-minute benchmark, and the power throttle is basically just how the GPU operates to ensure that it's staying at the correct clock speeds. So this was great. This is exactly what we want to see, especially for a card that was like already pretty clean. If the heat sinks were like caked with dust, if a thermal pad was missing or completely disintegrated, we'd probably expect something more intense. But this is what we would expect with just changing like thermal pads and thermal paste and making sure everything's good. Cleaning details. Okay, so um, it looked like there was got a grossness factor of 4. I thought initially that this was corrosion, but it's not. You'll see in the video. It looks like something was spilled, and the only reason why I don't think it's corrosion is A, because when it cleaned up, there was no evidence that like there was any issues with like the electrical components, and the way how it was kind of like it was like on the Jeep or the fan bracket and the fan shroud. So I don't really see like unless it was like literally like shooting out of the card, like how it could get on that. Like I would have expected for the amount of fluid, it would have like leaked down the PCB or something, like using gravity, but it was actually on the fan, it was on the fan shroud, it was on the fan bracket. So I think somebody spilled something on this, and luckily it didn't cause a short, and then the heat eventually kind of made it look like corrosion. So there was one thermal paste application, one thermal pad, and that's really it. Pretty standard card. Like this was a very standard thing. Oh, there I literally like I counted my curse words when I was doing this. The video doesn't do it justice, but there were these tiny screws. There was four on the front and four around the side that held the fan shroud to the fan bracket. This was kind of a weird card. There was like this bracket that held the fans, and then there was a fan shroud that went over the bracket. Usually, like the shroud also holds the fans, but this was like a different. I like the styling, but like the way it's assembled is kind of weird. But anyways, these tiny screws that they use I did not have. I've got like one of those iFixit style things where you have like 20 different Phillips head types. Not a single one of them would work with this stupid screw. And I ended up just using like from my screwdriver set, I have one that like a mini screwdriver that seems to fit every screw that I ever use for when I disassemble these GPUs. So I have no idea. I ended up just using that, but I had to put so much pressure on it, and I thought for sure I was going to strip the heads of the screws like 50 times, and it was really frustrating. But I cut most of that out in the video, so you can't really see how much I struggled. Um, you can see it got noticeably shinier. Um, Sorry for the different like style views. I still don't know if I'm going to do like the top down or like on the little GPU holder. I kind of like on the GPU holder a little bit better than the top down view, but cleaned up so good. There's a little LED behind this GeForce GTX 680. I need to start getting more videos of the card running because it looks really nice. Like the LED lighting on this is so good. Um, I goofed and I didn't get any like before and after disassembly photos on this card, which is just ridiculous. So there's not a whole lot of media. And then as far as rankings go, third hottest before cleaning. Uh, we saw a pretty good increase here, or decrease, I guess, so that it was only number 8 for, well, actually 8 is pretty bad for after cooling. That might be one of the worst. No views yet. Number 6 for biggest temp drop. Top 10 for most of these. Okay, most curse words. So it did get number 1 for most curse words. Number 2 for highest grossness. Only one other card's been higher, more gross, and only one other card's had more WTF moments. So uh, not exactly like the ones you want to rank high for, but yeah, all the ones that it actually is like top 3 are like bad ones to not be top 3. So this was still like a cool card. I never want to clean a card like this again. I got the Galaxy one, I saw it, and I was like, oh, this will be cool because it's like a brand that I don't see a lot of. And I wanted to get a card on here. It's a 680. I'll probably try and do like newer ones eventually, but cool card. Let's switch over to the video. Let's get this thing started here. Um, it was, again, like the styling is really nice. It's just those darn screws. You can see the 4 of them right now, like in the center of the card there. My hand's kind of covering it, but yeah, those tiny screws, terrible. This one is the style where you remove basically the heatsink from the PCB and then everything's kind of like attached. You have to get it from underneath. A lot of it has to be removed from underneath. You can see, yeah, so you see the top left there. I thought for sure, I mean, that kind of looked like corrosion to me, but it was not. It came off and those things looked perfect after cleaning. And you can see, I'll try and pause it. When I get to the point where you can see it on the actual like fan shroud and bracket as well. And I just don't think if it was leaking, and it was even in the heatsink, and if it was leaking, I just don't see how it could do that. I guess if it's facing downward and it's dripping, yeah, you can see just how gross that is. I don't know, maybe it is corrosion. I guess if the GPU is facing downwards and it like drips maybe it could cause that. But the, once it gets cleaned up, it looks like perfect. So I don't know. Leave a comment if you can tell whether that's corrosion or not, because I'd be curious. If it is leaking, like I don't want to do a giveaway for this card, but I'll probably run it like maybe just leave it running for like a couple hours. I don't know if it would start leaking like in a couple hours, but obviously I don't want to give away a leaky card. So if that looks gross or like the card is toast, definitely leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Yeah, this is that weird fan bracket thing. It's like just, I mean, I guess it's not weird. It's just I usually see it attached to the fan shroud. Those little fan connectors, always impossible to take apart. I think all the 600, like 680 series cards have this little heat sink. This one was kind of a pain because the thermal pad has holes in it, which like I guess I could get like a tiny socket from my toolbox and punch it out, but I just did like little squares and I think it's just fine. Thermal paste was okay. It was not dry, but it was just not a lot. So I think, always good to replace it anyways. Yeah, most of this part is just trying to get the residue off of the different parts. And so you can kind of see it in the heatsink there, like in the center. You can't see it anymore, but it all came off pretty easily. It kind of like didn't come off necessarily in chunks, although there are some like weird black specks in the water there, but it kind of just like disintegrated as the water, soapy water, was scrubbed over it. So whatever it is, it's gone now. I'll probably keep an eye on it. You can see it's pretty bad on that fan shroud, which is why I'm just like, maybe it's actually somebody spilled on it. Anywho, I'll stop talking about it. I've been talking about it for a while. There was an LED on that fan shroud, and I took a little bit of a risk dumping it in the soapy water. The way how the tape was, and the way how the wire connector was, it had like some glue covering the contacts. It looked like it was going to be fine if I put it in the water. If this was like a newer card with tons of electronics, like LEDs on it, I definitely wouldn't have done that. But took a little bit of a risk, worked out. Using the isopropyl alcohol now, I usually dump it in the connectors and try and get in all the crevasses there just to help the card dry out a little bit faster. And it gets like I always notice I rebottle the isopropyl alcohol when I'm done with it because I don't want to just dump it out because it's still good, even though I've used it already I usually use it on like at least like 3 GPUs before I kind of think about tossing it out, but I can always see there's like a tint to it after cleaning the GPUs, so it does get a little bit of the grime off. And really, though, the main reason I use it is to just displace the water so that it dries faster. With this method, using the isopropyl alcohol, I usually only let it dry for like 24 hours, sometimes just 12 hours. And that's why typically when you see these videos, like there's different levels of sunlight on my desk. I know it's kind of sometimes a little disorienting when I do some of the cuts where it goes from like a certain shade to another shade. Usually I'm cleaning the card in the morning before work, and then I'll clean the card in the evening after my son goes to sleep. So the assembly ones are usually at night. Disassembly is usually in the morning, and my office is on the side where in the morning the sun comes through the window and kind of like hits me. So there's a lot of really good light in the morning, but not so much in the evening. I have like an overhead light that I have shining down, which sometimes you can see like the glare off the cards. That's without that, I can't really film at night. But it also adds the glare, which is kind of annoying. These screws were not bad. The ones that went from the heatsink into the fan bracket, those actually came out fine. It was all the ones for the fan shroud. It's kind of interesting how the fans are like offset a little bit on the heatsink too. It's a cool design. I like the card, but I don't like how it was put together. Yeah, they went in a lot easier than coming out. Granted, I'm not sure. They probably now that I've taken them out, they probably would come out pretty easy. But some of the tops of the heads, they're definitely not stripped, but you can tell like somebody has taken them out. Okay, thermal paste. I do it the same every time. I do a little Z. Spreading that stuff is sometimes a horrible pain. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do like to have like a good layer over the entire chip there. And then I just use the force of the GPU getting pressed against it to kind of like fill in the gaps. So the main thing is I just don't want like air pockets. I don't want um, there is like a benefit, I guess, of like just doing a big drop in the center and letting it get pressed out because it's like fairly uniform. But if you're careful, I prefer spreading it first. I don't know if there's like a I'm sure some YouTuber has done like an analysis on like the best way to apply thermal paste, which I'll watch one day and maybe I'll change how I do it. If you do it a different way or have any suggestions, definitely feel free to leave a comment. Always trying to make these cleanings better. But that's the card. All clean, fresh, ready to go. It works great. Like if that is corrosion or that thing's leaking, I don't think there's even anything to leak inside that type of component. I think it's starts with an I or something, inducer. I don't think those have anything that they could even leak. So here is the nice, clean. Well, this is actually the dirty. Dirty. We're still dirty. And you'll see much cleaner. I mean, the camera is a little bit more clear too, but you can see that cleaned up. It looks brand new. Like even the heatsink is like in great condition. Everything is perfect. So very cool card. I'm hoping to give this away. It did really well on the benchmarks. So I mean, it's definitely a relevant card still. You could play esports with it, all sorts of things. So we are going to do a giveaway. I've done two giveaways now. Um, I know I said I'd probably post it here, but basically I'm using so Reddit, PC Master Race, PCMR, that subreddit. I'm just posting giveaways, and like the first one, I had like three people uh, say they want to be entered into the giveaway, and then the second one, only two people. It was a 980 and then a 770, so it's like I get it. These cards aren't like super duper relevant, but I know there's people out there that need them. So if you want, I'll put it start putting it in the descriptions, but I'll put my well, actually, you know what? I think what I'm gonna start doing is announcing also on my X account when I do a giveaway, and then you can just follow that account. So I'll put my Hake Hardware X account in the description of the video if you're looking for a GPU. I know we've only done the best card we've done was like a 980, but I have a bunch of 1080s and a bunch of 1070s, and those are like still really good cards by today's standards. They've got 8 gigabytes of VRAM. They are decently powerful. Like if you're doing 1080p, you're not gonna be able to play like the best, latest like stuff on high quality, but if you're just looking to play like medium quality and like for the most part recent games, the 1080 should be fine. And I think I even have like a 1080 Ti. I do have, like I mentioned before, a 2080 which we're going to be cleaning and I'm going to be giving that away, and I have a 3070 which I'm going to be cleaning and giving away. Both of those are my previous cards, and yeah, so uh, check the description of the video, follow my X account. I'm going to be posting when I do new videos. I'm going to be posting when I have giveaways. And really, like, all you have to do for a giveaway is just comment that you would use the card, and then that's it. I ship it to you for free. US only. Sorry, I know like I have international viewers. It's just you know, if you're willing to like have me ship to a reshipper or something, as long as I can ship it to a US address, then you can enter. Um, of course, no warranty. Like these are used cards. I get them either for free or off eBay for very cheap. So I have no idea. The cards always, I only give away cards that I feel like are good quality cards that'll last, a couple more years. So, take that for what it's worth. But I'd love to get more participants in the giveaways, just A, because it's more views for my channel, which kind of motivates me to keep doing these. Granted, I've got like 50 more cards, so there's going to be at least like 50 episodes. But yeah, anyways, I hope you check out the next one. The next one's going to be crazy. I'll give you a little foreshadowing here. I couldn't even get through the stress test. Like the computer shut off. That's how bad the card was. And I had really good results. So stay tuned and we'll have the next one out hopefully within the next few days. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.